All right. Welcome to the webinar. To start off, this webinar serves the purpose of we're going to talk about a little bit about the some of the use cases and also some of the common questions in regards to licensing. So to start off, I wanted to kind of introduce you to why choose iText.
You already know that PDF revolutionizes the way you work with documents and that iText helps software developers to create PDF-enabled programs. But why should you buy iText? With iText, you create document applications faster with the best programming model. Your PDFs will be produced in less time, comply with present and future PDF standards for archiving, accessibility, invoicing, and more, and will be created with more elegant typography. What's more, iText allows you to safeguard your intellectual property. Moreover, you get direct access to our support staff in 3 continents. This makes working with the most proven and award-winning PDF solution a breeze.
All right, so here is pretty much a few out of many of the companies we work with worldwide. As you can see, IBM and Oracle, they all use iText as part of their solutions. So after the webinar, hopefully I'll be able to add your company onto this list.
So iText itself is not just one feature or one product, it's a suite of products. So whether you're looking to extract text from your PDFs, merge PDFs together, or create PDFs that are compliant with a number of PDF standards, iText can help you with all of that. And the way that it does that is by utilizing 2 different APIs. So there's the high-level API, which is for those who are not as familiar with PDF technology, and there's also the low-level API for those who know it very well and are looking for more fine-grained control. So the high-level API is structured around a number of pretty easy to understand objects. You have a document and then you put things into it like paragraphs or tables or sections, and from there iText will take care of the rest. The low-level API is something that if you know how to use PDF technology and you know PDF syntax, then you will be able to change little things about the PDF by changing that syntax yourself. And so pretty much anything you're looking to do with PDF, iText can help you do it. So now I want to talk to you guys a bit about a couple of use cases that we've had with customers of ours. So the first is from the CSC, which is a consulting company that was working for the Justice Department in Belgium. So previously they had a number of different processes and tools to be able to all of their document needs, and they found that communicating between these tools and from these tools to other departments was relatively difficult. Once they brought in iText, they were able to have that communication be much simpler, and they were also able to communicate with other departments much more easily. So the first project that they brought in iText for was they had a database for the Belgian Court of Appeals, and they had a bunch of documents that they wanted to be able to put into this database. They had them as just pieces of paper, and the plan was to scan the images to put them into the database. But they didn't just want them to be an image on a PDF. They also wanted them to be structured and be able to be useful down the road for things like extracting text from them. So they were able to use iText to create the PDF with the scanned image, as well as to structure the PDF so that it would be useful down the line. The next thing that they were trying to do was make sure that they had to flatten dynamic forms. So they had a process where a business in Belgium would register for with their business number, since all businesses in Belgium are registered with the government. So the business would provide the Justice Department with a bunch of information, and once they had that information, the Justice Department would provide them with their registration number. Once they had the information from the business, they wanted to be able to put that information into a PDF for future use. So the way that they did that was to put the information into a form, And once they had the information in the form, they wanted to make that form no longer changeable. They wanted to make it static, and that process is called flattening. The other thing that they wanted to do with these documents is to make sure that they were useful down the line. So when we think of PDF, we usually think of it as kind of a digital paper in that it doesn't really change much. But the truth is that PDF relies on a number of things that are in the machine that is viewing the PDF. So if you are looking at a PDF in 10 years, it might not look the same as when you look at it now, because some of the things it relies on might not be on that machine. The way to fix that problem is to use the PDF-A specification, which makes sure that all of the things that the PDF needs to be viewed correctly are inside of the PDF itself. So iText was able to help the Justice Department by having PDF-A PDFs created from their flattened dynamic forms, and they were able to create the database they were looking for. The next use case was Roots Software, and they were working on an application called CarPass. So CarPass was an application that helped to make sure that there were not fraudulent odometer readings for used cars in Belgium. They had a certificate process, and while it was going well, they were having problems with scalability. So they found that they weren't able to create them fast enough, and they brought in iText to help with that problem. Once they brought in iText, they were able to affect a 10 times increase in speed, and they were able to create 10 certificates in the time that it took to create one previously. They also wanted to make sure that the certificates that they created for their customers were controlled at a high level and a low level. So they wanted to be able to make sure that they had templates of different kinds for different customers, and they also wanted to be able to tweak little things for individual customers. So they were able to create the templates that they wanted for general customers with the high-level API, and when they had something very specific that they wanted to change, they were able to use the low-level API to do that effectively. The other thing that they were looking for was something that was not too cumbersome. They didn't want to make sure that whatever solution they had didn't have a huge stack of applications that they needed to be able to use it. With iText being a coding library, you are able to access iText's functionality anywhere that you're able to use Java or C#. And lastly, in the certificates they created, they wanted to be able to make sure that the PDFs they created were compliant with a number of different specifications, and that they were able to include things like QR codes. So iText was able to help them make those PDFs that met the specifications they were looking for, and also to be able to include QR codes of any kinds that they were looking for. And the last case I wanted to talk to you about was the LEAPP, and they were an automated courier service. So they brought in iText because they were having problems with their costs. Things were getting a bit too expensive for them. So they had a pen and paper solution for signing for packages from their customers, but when they brought in iText to be able to do that digitally. So what they did was they had a mobile application where their couriers were able to have customers sign for their packages, whether they were in the city with lots of connectivity or if they were in a remote location. They were able to do it no matter where they were. Secondly, they wanted to make sure that the transition from the paper documents that they had to the digital solution was an easy one. So they were able to use iText to make sure that the digital forms they had looked very similar to the paper documents that they had before. That made it so that the couriers that were using this new application didn't have to learn the new form as well as the new technology. They only had to learn the new technology. And lastly, they wanted to make sure that the technology that they used was an easy-to-use SDK. So they were not very proficient with PDF. They hadn't used PDF much before, but iText was able to help them, and they were able to create PDFs in the way they were looking for and be able to meet their needs. And now I'm going to hand it over to Swan for some frequently asked questions for sales.
All right, thank you, Ryan. So let's start with how is iText licensed? So this is most frequent asked questions. It's pretty easy. We have 3 different licensing structures. We have the capacity rental, which is the SaaS model, and we have the OEM, which is the distribution licensing, and last but not least, the unit-based will be the commercial license. So for capacity rental, this will work with, for example, if you are hosting your application on a cloud server such as AWS, as known as Amazon Web Servers, or Azure Cloud or Google Cloud. So as you know, any cloud server, their daily flow for instance are different. Today you could have 3, tomorrow you could have 100. There is really no good way to calculate how many instances you're using for your application. Since iText is licensed per instance, so it's really difficult if we're trying to license each instance as using it in a cloud server. So the capacity rental licensing, it will fit your need, because this license are calculated by the value of your file production annually. How is it done is we really don't care where or how many instances that you're using with your application. We count the file, how many files that you produce on an annual basis, and we license them accordingly. We have anywhere between 10K files per year to 60 million, as well as unlimited file production per year. The OEM licensing is a little bit tricky because it is mixed with 2 licensing structures into one. Like I mentioned before, since we're licensed per instance, so anything that you are using to develop, test on your software, you have to properly license that. So for OEM, when iText is integrated into your own software and distribute to your clients, these licenses are calculated based on each copy that you sell. So pretty much say you've bought 100 OEM license and you only sold 50 this year. That means you have the remaining 50 for however long you need them to be. For OEM, just a reminder that you have to buy the distribution licensing up front, as well as your internal non-production environments. So lastly is the union-based commercial licensing. So if your scenario or project doesn't fall under the capacity rental or the OEM, then you're probably most likely fall under the commercial license. These are pretty easy. These licenses are purchased for your internal production and non-production environments. So it's pretty much whichever instance that you're using for non-production, such as dev, QA, UAT, test, as well as your application hosted on any production environment, you have to properly license each and individually. Why is support required with my purchase? So the initial 1 year of the support is required because we want you to be successful. With a current support agreement, you have the access to all of the tools necessary to make your project successful with iText. So with the support, you have the benefits of access to our dedicated support team to help with any questions you might have with the iText library. Also, you have the ability to upgrade to the newest version at no additional cost. Also, we do quarterly updates, annual releases. You get them as well. Of course, you may discontinue the support after the first initial year. However, you will lose out the benefits that support has to offer. So if you decided to buy back the support on your iText license for the year after, you will be expected to pay at 150% price increase. Can I purchase single feature licensing of iText? iText Core is a suite product. We do not offer single feature licensing for individual features such as converting, flatten, etc. So the benefits with our library is not just how feature rich it is, but the processing speeds, ease of use, support, and resources out there. The license cost is a one-time fee, so you will have the license for an unlimited period of time. For example, if you currently just using iText to fill PDF forms, then you want to add digital signature in a year, and then annotations in another year after that, you do not have to purchase additional licensing. you will have everything iText offers for future additions or improvements of your software. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about iText 7 and value add-on features. So as you can see, PDF, we have PDF Calligraph, PDF Debug, PDF Invoice, and PDF Sweep. These are all new features that that we added on to, in addition to iText 7 Core. Just want to make it clear, these are not part of iText 7 Core, so you will have to purchase them separately. So to discuss some of their features and how they work, let's start off with PDF Debug. PDF Debug is a feature that allows you can see when and where something is going wrong in your PDF by viewing the PDF structure while it is being created. PDF Invoice, this feature allows you to create PDFs that are easily processed digitally. Also, it provides you with a human-readable version of invoice in the PDF and a machine-readable one in an attached XML file. PDF Calligraph, this feature allows you to create PDFs with more complicated language structures, such as in Arabic or Tamil. Also, this feature allows you to have a calligraphy edited into your PDF. Last but not least, PDF Sweep, pretty self-explanatory. This feature allows you to delete any sensitive information on a PDF document. So for example, if you have a court document that has your identification number on it or anything sensitive to you, you'll be able to remove that information, no problem. How to license these features. So these are counted as individual licensing. So for example, if you want to use PDF Debug onto one out of the 3 non-production instances you're working with, you will only need to license that one particular non-production instance as well as your production instance, because 2 will work as 1. Of course, if you want to install PDF Debug onto all 3 of your non-production instances, you have to license accordingly. So just wanted to make it clear, these are not part of iText 7 Core. These are individual licenses. You will have to purchase them separately. Can I use AGPL for internal use for free? So this honestly depends on how you're using iText and how comfortable you are with sharing your source code. Once you use iText in any aspect of your project, for AGPL, the entire project and all source codes must be made available to the public for free, and the app will be registered as AGPL if you wish to use the free AGPL version. So of course, if you are okay with sharing your source code, for example, you can upload your entire application source code onto GitHub, and if I go on GitHub, I'll be able to view and use your creation of the application with iText integrated into. If you wish to keep your IP and source code private, or you would like to sell your software to your own clients with iText built into it, you will need a commercial license or an OEM license. So for more details on AGPL, please visit the link right below. You don't have to worry about clicking on it right now, because at the end of the webinar, we will send out an email with all the important links that we have discussed throughout this webinar. So this link pretty much just explains a little bit more on how AGPL works, more details, and how they're licensed. So we are at the end of our webinar. So here are some of the helpful links with some examples, downloads, and tutorials of iText. The last one I wanted just to mention out that this is a great way of, if you are currently using iText 5 or you have never used iText before. This shows you the iText 7 Jumpstart tutorial. It kind of covers how to convert from iText 5 to iText 7, since iText 7 is our newest product, as well as if you never used iText before, you can click on that and see how iText 7 is fitted for your needs. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and anew everyone.